captured Gollum, you must now escort him through Mirkwood Forest for interrogation at Thranduil's palace. Hello and welcome back to the Line Unbroken, my series in which I'm playing through each of the scenarios of the Lord of the Rings living card game in turn, using only the cards which were available at the time of release in imitation of the existing LOTR LCG progression series. Here I am about to play the final scenario of the Shadows of Mirkwood cycle, Return to Mirkwood. So as we can see, set up, search the encounter deck for Gollum, and choose a player to guard Gollum at the start of the game and place Gollum in front of that player. Here he is being guarded by this player. Then shuffle the encounter deck, reveal one card per player from the encounter deck and add it to the staging area. Just before I finish the setup, I'm just going to mention my two hands, which, well, this one is interesting because I have no allies in it, which strikes me as a potential problem, but I do have Steward of Gondor to accelerate my resources. I have Unexpected Courage, which can go straight onto Beravor so that she can draw cards and do something else. I have Ancient Madams, which can draw more cards, Galadrim's Greeting to drop threat, and so I figure with Beravor able to grant the extra card draw along with the Madams, I should be able to draw some allies soon enough to actually get the Rohan quest train rolling. Meanwhile, on this side, I think I'm going to be unable to play anything round one. But I have Glare-Wine for more card draw, I have Eagles of the Misty Mountains, which of course is key, and Support of the Eagles, which is also potentially key. I suppose having Descendant of Thorondor early in the game before I rise above things' engagement costs could be relevant. So that is why I didn't take a mulligan on either of these hats. So now I will reveal one card per player from the encounter deck. Marshadder, okay, that's a bit of an issue. 3 threat straight away. And the Woodman's Glade. Alright. So that's 5 threat in the staging area to start with. Let's flip this over. Mirkwood is always a dangerous place, but it is even worse with Gollum. Between the outbursts, tantrums, and the flying provisions, you are not afforded a moment's peace. And so I'll hit Control N to gain signal. That's potentially useful. Daughter of the Nimrodel may come up. Okay, so I will immediately pay 2 for this Unexpected Courage on Beravor, and then I will immediately trigger her to draw 2 cards over here. Okay, and see here I have my allies. I can't play them yet, but next round things will start to get rolling. And over here, yeah, I can't play anything. So, move on to questing. 2, 6, 7, and Theodred will add a resource to Eowyn, because I need to afford all the spirit cards. Sorry, what did I say? 7 willpower, yes. Caught in a web right away. Okay, well I have a Miner of the Iron Hills, so I can manage something, and let's put it on Boromir, who can potentially just raise threat rather than spending resources if I need him to ready. And Wood Elf Path. Okay, so I actually make 1 progress. I was kind of not expecting that, being only 2 willpower over the threat I was starting with. I thought that staging could have gone kind of badly, but it has worked out. So, okay, let's travel to the Woodman's Glade. The player with Guarding Golem must exhaust a hero to travel here. I will exhaust Dun here. Oh, actually, no, let me think about this. Because Dun here can attack the Marshadder in the staging area, which is would be helpful, because I don't really want to engage it just yet, or possibly at all, given that it will raise my threat. So perhaps I should travel to the Wood Elf path. Yeah, okay, I'll travel... Yes, I will travel to the Wood Elf path. But I will not trigger the response to choose a new player to guard Golem. And there's nothing to do over here. And so here I will simply, in the combat phase there are no enemy attacks, so Dun here will attack into the staging area for 3 and put 2 damage on the Marsh Adder. Then let's see, force at the end of each round. Right, so technically, though I may not go through all the steps each time, I should hit Control R to refresh everyone, raise my threat by 1, and the first player token should have moved at this point, and then raise my threat by another 3 for Golem, and then hit Control N. Alright, now let's see. I'll exhaust, but I've also draw 2 cards over here, and then spend 4 for an Eagles of the Misty Mountains, most important card. And I will also pay 2 for the Miner of the Iron Hills to discard Caught in a Web. I could alternatively have played Glare-Wine to get more cards out quicker, but that condition was probably going to be an issue at some point, even if it hadn't been yet. So I'll then spend 2 resources to make Eowyn the Steward of Gondor. So I now have 5 spirit resources. I will spend 2 for a Westroad Traveller and trigger the response to swap the active location for a different location in the staging area. This means I don't need to satisfy the travel requirement, so I don't need to exhaust a hero. But I can still get the response after exploring it to reduce the threat of each player not gone by 2. Then let's see, I think I could just drop my threat right away. If I drop the threat of this deck, then this deck will get its threat dropped when I explore this location. And I can potentially just hold on to Golem over here for a bit longer. So there may be something to be said for that as an idea. Alternatively, I can just get more willpower on the table quicker, and maybe set up some more card draw. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for that option. The threat reduction will still be there next round. So, now we move into quest phase. Theodred will add his resource to himself. So now questing for 5, 7, 8, 10. Let's go for that. Willpower against 4 threat. Yep. Golem's Anguish raises the threat of the player guarding Golem by 8, and that player must choose a new player to guard Golem if able. Well, I have no test of will, I can't cancel it, so threat goes up to 37 and Golem comes over here. And wasted provisions, discard the top 10 cards from the deck of the player guarding Golem, and that player must choose a new player to guard Golem. So I will discard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There were some decent cards in there. I suppose I only lost one actual eagle. One burning brand, which means there's only one left. It's not too bad, it could have been worse, and Golem comes back over here. This does mean that I have added no additional threat to the staging area, so I'm still questing for 10 against 4 and will make 6 progress, unless I want to discard cards to boost Eowyn. But I don't think I do. So 6 progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is explored, and the player not guarding Golem can lower his threat by 2. And this Ancient Madam goes away, and we draw 3 cards here. Alright. Now I will travel again to the Wood Elf path, and this time I will trigger its response to move Golem across, following that big threat hike. Once again, I will not engage the Marsh Adder. Actually, I could. It'll make my questing load easier. So yes, actually deck 2 will optionally engage the Marsh Adder. I'll defend it with the Miner of the Iron Hills. The stack is undefended, which it is not. So that shadow effect does nothing, but forced I have to raise my threat by 1 for the Marsh Adder attacking me. Now I will attack back. 3, 6, 8, which is enough to kill the Marsh Adder. It goes to the victory display. Now I don't have to keep questing past it. And so I'll hit Control N. I'm not going to be moving Golem. So deck 2 will raise its threat by 3. Go over here. Let's get another 2 resources on Eowyn. I'll have Bearville draw a couple of cards over here. Alright. I think I'm going to save this escort for a later point. I will spend 2 for Unexpected Courage on... let's say Legolas. And then that will be it for Spirit cards. But I'll also put Calabrian Stone onto Eowyn, so I can keep speeding up my quest progress. Now, let's see, I think Bearville... oh, the Miner of the Iron Hills should be dead from the Marsh Adder. I think Bearville I want to save up for a Rivendell Minstrel. And I really want support of the Eagles. or some more with the smaller eagles. So I suppose I will leave it at that. Request for 1, 7, 9, 10, adding third resource to Eowyn. So that's 12. Oh, no, sorry, I miscalculated. No, that is right. Yes. Right, yes, so requesting for 12 against 0, and so we'll reveal Ungoliant spawn. Right. So I lose a bunch of willpower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm down to 7 willpower, and the second card is another Wood Elf Path. Oh, last round Legolas helped to kill the Marsh Shadow, so I should have 2 progress on this Wood Elf Path. So that's 4 threat. I'm still going to make 3 progress. 1, 2, 3. And is there anything I want to discard? I think I'm doing well enough as it is, so I will travel to this Wood Elf Path, and I will choose to send Gollum over here. I'm going to spend 3 resources for the Gladron's Greeting to lower my threat by 6. And okay, deck 2 will optionally engage Ungoliant Spawn. Gets a shadow card, and I will spend 1 resource to play Faint on it. Let's flip over its shadow card, which obviously doesn't do anything, and then I'll attack for 8 to put 6 damage on it. Discard that. Threat up by 3 for Gollum, Control N. Okay, the Horn of Gondor, that could be handy. But I think it's more important. Actually, no, wait. Trigger Beravor to draw 2 cards. Winged Guardian, that is what I wanted. So I'll play the Winged Guardian, and then I'll put the Horn of Gondor onto Boromir, because I can't afford support of the Eagles. This is crucial because the Winged Guardian can defend against Ungoliant Spawn and then go under Eagles of the Visiting Mountains and start powering it up and so on. And then let's trigger Steward. And I could put this Ancient Melon up there. I think I will actually. Beravor can always equal out the card draw situation if I need to, and I think that will be it. So 1, 7, 9, 10, 12. Mountains of Mirkwood, and the Woodman's Glade. So that's very nice staging. So it is in fact 4 threats, so I don't have to change that. I make 8 progress. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is exactly enough to move me on to the next quest stage. So I'll just trigger this Ancient Madam first. Right. And the next quest stage. As soon as he thinks that no one is watching, Gollum attempts to slip his bonds and escape. The player guarding Gollum cannot commit characters to this quest unless he is the only player remaining in the game. If the player's quest unsuccessfully, Gollum escapes and the players have lost the game. Right, so now... I think I will travel to the Woodman's Glade. Exhausting done here. And now we come to combat. So I'm going to Swan gets a shadow card, the Winged Guardian will defend. The Winged Guardian is dead, it leaves play and goes on to Eagles of Misty Mountains. I'm putting 1 resource here so that I can keep track of how much this eagle has been boosted. Boromir gets a resource from the Horn of Gondor. And so now I can attack for 3, 6, 9, killing Ungoliant Spawn. I'll trigger Legolas to place 2 progress, reduce this dex threat by 2. And that is the end of the round. Control N. Gollum is coming over here. This deck raises the threat by 3. And Beravor is going to draw a couple of cards over here. Finally, I found a test of will. Alright, let's see. I will spend 1 from Theodred for a Snowborn Scout and put 1 progress on the Mountains of Mirkwood. I will spend another 1 from him for a Dunedain Signal, which I will put onto Boromir. I should be able to get through this in just 1 quest phase without needing the escort from Edoras. So I think I'll leave it still. And so that will be it. I've got lots of resources for when I need them. Plenty over here. Okay, so I don't need the Rivendell Minstrel so much at this point. I'll pay 3 for support of the Eagles on Boromir. Now the deck really starts to hum along a bit. Let's pay 2 for Galeowine and then trigger him to draw another card on this side. Aemond is nice to have, of course, because I only just played Galeowine now and then drew this card. This deck has already done its planning, so I can't play him at this point, which I otherwise would. And I suppose that will be it. And Theodred will add his resource to himself. So I'm questing for 10 against the staging area of 2. Gollum's Anguish. So I'll pay 1 for Test of Will and cancel that, because I do not want to deal with it. Okay, Mirkwood Bats. 1 threat and Surge into Atacop. Right. Okay, this is where we start to have problems. But It's only 2 threat, so I make 5 progress, which is more than enough, and move on to the next quest stage. Having thwarted Gollum's escape attempt, you tighten his rope and push on through Mirkwood to Thranduil's palace. The player guarding Gollum cannot play cards from his hand. Didn't have any events anyway, did I? No. Right, so, I mean, I was previously thinking that I might travel to the mountains of Mirkwood, but right now I don't think I want to reveal another encounter card, because if it's another enemy, then I could be in trouble. So I will leave the mountains there. And then I suppose deck 1 will optionally engage the Mirkwood bats. Well, at the beginning of the encounter phase, Atacop automatically engages the player guarding Golem regardless of his threat. So it's over here. And so this deck will take the bats, but forced after Mirkwood bats engages a player, deal 1 damage to each character controlled by the player guarding Golem, which includes Golem himself, of course. Now, this is a potential problem. And shadow cards. Okay, the Snowborn Scout will defend against the bats. Nothing happens, the Snowborn Scout actually lives. And, oh, I'm doing this out of order. Dunhere is going to kill the bats, but I can't do that until I resolve this attack as well. It is attacking for 8. This eagle has 3 defense, so support of the eagles could increase Boromir's defense to 5, and he would take 3 damage. I think that's going to be my best option, to be honest. So I will trigger support of the eagles to increase Boromir's defense. And there is no shadow effect. 3 damage, and he has 1 hit point remaining. Now, let's see, 3, 5, 8. I will raise my threat by 1 to ready Boromir and attack for 3, 6, 8, 11, which is enough to kill Atacop, which doesn't even have victory points, so it could come out again, although the encounter deck is rather large, so that's unlikely. Although there is a second copy of it in the deck, which is ridiculous, and I forgot to do Dunhere's attack first. Legolas will place 2 progress on the quest. Okay, and I suppose that will be it. This deck will raise its threat by 3 and hold on to Gollum. Because I really want to get through this quest stage quickly, which will be easier if this deck can play cards. Bevel will also draw 2 cards over here. Another Test of Will is very helpful. That's something I hadn't thought of. I'm going to pay 1 for Right to Ruin, and discard this Snowborn Scout to place 2 progress on this location and then trigger its response. So let's look at the top 5 cards, and I will take the Gladrim's Greeting. And on this side, obviously I won't be able to play whatever I get, but I may as well look. And let's have Radagast. Actually, that's probably a bad idea, because I really don't have the resources to play him. Let's see, Beravor wants to save for another round to play a Daughter of the Nimrodel. Or alternatively, I want to pay 1 for a Song of Wisdom on Boromir, and then pay 3 for a Daughter of the Nimrodel. So I will trigger Glare to draw 1 card for deck 1 as well. And yes, I do want to get some more eagles onto the table. 18 cards left in the deck. There's only 1 eagle in the discard and 1 under these eagles. So I've had pretty... Actually, I suppose it's not that bad luck. It still seems a bit weird that I've seen so few. Okay. Trigger Steward. Now let's pay 3 for Aemond. 2 for an escort from Edoras. And I think that will be it. So for questing, let's go for 2, 3, 10, 12, 16, 17, 19. 19 against 0. Do you think that's enough? I think that's enough. Off path. And the Spider's Ring. So that's 19 against 4. I make 15 progress. I only needed 5. As you make the final push to Thranduil's palace, your enemies make a desperate attempt to ambush your party and seize Gollum for themselves. Forced at the beginning of the combat phase, all enemies in play engage the player guarding Gollum. Players cannot defeat this stage if there are enemies in play. If players defeat this stage, they have won the game. Well, there are no enemies, so that helps. Let's see. Let's travel to the Spider's Ring. Gollum now can't move, but I will pay 3 resources for the Galadrim's Greeting. Drop this deck down to 33 threat. And with no enemies in play, obviously that will have to be that. Control N. Another 3 threat for Gollum. Oh, and this escort should have left play and given Boromir a resource from the Horn of Gondor. Trigger Steward. Let's trigger Beravor on this side. Okay. This seems reasonable. I'll play Mustering the Rohirrim and search the top 10 cards of my deck. Let's take a West Road Traveller. I don't really need this third Unexpected Courage. I'm not sure where it was intended to go. I think I'll save resources for Test of Will and Galadrim's Greeting. I have nothing to do with these leadership resources. But I don't really have enough resources on this side to throw the Song of Travel over there. Maybe I should have made Boromir the Steward of Gondor, or Legolas. So let's bring in a... Oh, and before the end of the last round I was going to heal Boromir for 2 with the Daughter of the Nimrodel. Yes, Vassal of the Windlord. Vassal of the Windlord. The reason that I didn't do it right when I played the Daughter of the Nimrodel was because I'm pretty sure the Necromancer's Reach is in this quest, and I didn't want the daughter to die during staging because I chose to exhaust her in the planning phase. Let's see, yes. Of course, this is a fairly good example of how Radagast can sometimes be not very helpful, because if you don't get him out early, then it can be a lot more economical to just spend your money on actual eagles rather than him, to make eagles cheaper in the long run. And yeah, I think that will be enough. So let's quest. So that's 1, 8, 10, 11, 13, 15 against 1. Wasted provisions. Oh, of course, that's why there's not so much of this deck left. Well, I'm so close to finishing the quest, I think I don't really need this stuff. 9, 10. And the player guard and golem cannot change, so I can't choose a new player to guard golem. I am not able. And the second card of staging, Golem's Bite. And I am very glad that I saved my test of will, because that would kill a hero. So I'm still questing for 15 against 1. I make 14 progress. 1, 2. There are no enemies in play. So, once again we see the folly of the large encounter deck. Of course, in the Nightmare version of this quest, you automatically have to pull out a copy of Atacop when you reach stage 4. So you will always have at least that one enemy. But it is an obvious problem. I mean, I think these decks worked pretty well, as not exactly as intended. I didn't really get a lot of eagles out on the one side. Let me just look at my remaining cards. See, 2 copies of the eagles are coming right near the bottom of the deck. I didn't have a chance to pull them out early. There's my second Burning Brand, which I would have been able to play on Boromir if I drew it. And obviously, well, hang on. After staging and before quest resolution, I can play the Galadrim's Greeting to drop my threat by 6 just to have a better score. What is my score? Oh, I can also heal Boromir to have a better score. 132. Not too bad, given the amount that the scenario drives your threat through the roof. Yeah, let's see, what do I have left in here? There's my 1 elf helm. I know I got to use Stand and Fight, which of course can be helpful to bring back the Rohan allies that you have to discard at certain points. I never really had a lot of enemies, so Boromir didn't really have a chance to shine as much as he potentially could. The Doomsday Signal never came up. In test plays, that was really key, because sometimes well, particularly I think because when Atacop turned up and this deck was guarding Golem, they couldn't deal with it. So having Boromir loaded up with support of the Eagles, big Eagles of the Misty Mountains, plus a Burning Brand and a Dunedain Signal, he could defend over here. And then Legolas could try to at least do some damage. But on the other hand, I mean, this deck worked reasonably, because I just had a bunch of decent willpower stuff in it with the intention of getting through the quest quickly, and I did. I was a bit worried that the card draw wouldn't be enough, but clearly it seems like that worry was unwarranted. As I said, I mean, maybe I should have played Steward of Gondor on one of my tactics heroes, maybe thrown the Horn over to generate more spirit resources. But on the other hand, the spirit resources were important for keeping the threat down and getting the quest power out to finish the quest quickly before anything too bad could happen. Which, I mean, of course, that's always a reasonable tactic, but I think especially in some of these earlier quests with the massive encounter decks, because obviously there's a decent amount of horrible stuff in these encounter decks, but because the decks are so big, it's all very diluted, so potentially, random chance being what it is, you can get through the entire quest without seeing a lot of this horrible stuff. Hang on. There are 3 copies of Atacop. There are 3 copies of Atacop. I was sure it was only 2. I'm going to check that after I stop recording. But I mean, that's the thing. Atacop obviously is the big horrible enemy for this scenario, and it can be a great problem if it comes out really early on in the game. But equally, if you get willpower onto the table quickly, then you could get through the entire quest and never see it. Yeah, let's see. Otherwise, didn't get to use Eagles. The Eagles are coming. Mustering the Rohirrim, of course, is not really as good. I can't remember what I pulled out with it. Western Traveller, which is a very good ally. I just didn't have the chance to play her. So that is the end of the Shadows of Mirkwood cycle. My next post on the Line Unbroken and video will be taking on the first Gen Con scenario, Massingatal's Gileath, before then moving on to Khazad-dûm and the Dwarrowdelf cycle, and I hope you will come back to watch those. Goodbye.